We heard a baby crying deep in the forest. It's been 3 years since the trip. I haven't told anyone what really happened. Not my girlfriend, not my therapist. I can't. You'll think I'm making it up, or worse, that I did something. It was late September, that weird lull between summer and real fall. I was out in Grand Teton National Park with two buddies, Kyle and Rich. We'd planned this camping trip for months. The kind of guys trip where you ditch your phones, load up your REI packs with dehydrated meals and overpriced gear, and pretend you're primal and tough for a weekend. We parked our Subaru Forester at some trailhead I couldn't pronounce and hiked deep into the backcountry, past the bare country signs, past where day hikers turn around, even past where the rangers bother to check. Just woods, rivers, silence, and us. It felt good at first, freeing. But there's something about too much silence that messes with you. You start to notice sounds that aren't there. The first night was normal. Campfire, whiskey from a flask, dumb stories from college. We slept in our tents like logs. The second night was when it started. Around 2 or 3 in the morning, I woke up to what sounded like crying. Not like someone sobbing. This was high-pitched, broken, almost rhythmic, like a baby crying, out in the middle of nowhere. At first, I thought it was a dream. I sat up, heart pounding, trying to listen. Then I heard it again, clearer this time. It wasn't close, but not far either, just far enough that you couldn't really tell the direction. A baby, in the woods, at night. I unzipped the tent and poked my head out. It was pitch black except for the stars. No movement, no wind, just the thin, eerie sound of that crying echoing between the trees. I looked at Kyle's tent. His light was on. I whispered, "Dude, you hear that?" His head popped out, eyes wide. "That's not real, right? Tell me that's not real." Then Rich came stumbling out in his long johns, rubbing his eyes. "Who the fuck brings a baby camping?" We stood there like idiots. 3 grown men paralyzed by the sound of an infant crying somewhere deep in the woods. We waited, listened. It stopped. And that silence that came after, it was worse. We didn't sleep after that, not really. Just lay there waiting for it to come back. But it didn't. In the morning, we laughed it off. Said maybe it was a bobcat, or some bird that sounds weird when you're stoned and tired. That kind of lie you tell yourself so the day doesn't feel off. But the vibe had changed. We all felt it, like the woods were watching us now. That night, things got worse. At dinner, I noticed Rich checking his backpack over and over. "Something wrong?" I asked. "My knife's gone," he muttered. "Which one?" "The big one, the Gerber survival blade. I had it in my side pouch." We all helped him look, emptied gear, shook bags. Nothing. We joked he probably dropped it or left it near the stream earlier. But something about the way he looked at us, like he didn't believe that, it stayed with me. At 1:43 a.m., I woke up to footsteps. Heavy, deliberate, circling the tents. I held my breath. My heart was thudding so loud I thought whoever was out there could hear it. The steps were slow. Crunch, pause, crunch, another pause. They weren't animal steps. And then, breathing. Right outside my tent wall. I swear I could hear someone breathing, A slow, raspy inhale, close enough to fog up the nylon if it had been colder. I didn't move. I didn't speak. And then it said, in the softest, most broken voice, "Shh, you'll wake the baby." I don't remember falling asleep. I must have blacked out from fear or exhaustion because when I opened my eyes again, the sky was just starting to lighten. That blue-grey pre-dawn where everything looks ghostly. I lay there, stiff and clammy, waiting, listening. Nothing. I unzipped my tent as slowly as I could. My hands were shaking. The ground around our camp was disturbed. Faint footprints in the pine needles. Human footprints. Kyle's tent was already open. He was standing near the fire pit, rubbing his arms, looking pale. "You heard it too?" he said without even turning around. "I didn't just hear it," I whispered. "It was right outside my tent." He nodded slowly, like he expected that. "Mine too. I didn't move. I think it was touching the side of my tent at one point." We checked Rich's tent. He was inside, curled up in his sleeping bag, completely still. For a second I thought he was dead. But he opened his eyes, bloodshot, wide, haunted. "You guys heard him," Rich croaked. We didn't ask who. We knew. Breakfast didn't happen. No one was hungry. We packed in silence. Kyle kept scanning the tree line. Rich had this tight grip on a hiking pole like it was a weapon. We all agreed we'd head back early, maybe not to the trailhead, but closer to it. Just away. We hiked 6 miles that day, barely spoke. Every twig snap made us spin around. Every rustle turned our stomachs. We were jumpy, paranoid, snapping at each other. Somewhere around noon we found a clearing with an old fire ring and what looked like the remains of another camp. At first we were relieved. Maybe we'd camp near people. Maybe we weren't alone. Then we looked closer. The ashes in the fire pit weren't that old. Maybe a day or two. But what stopped us was the trash, or lack of it. There wasn't any. No wrappers, no cans, no toilet paper scraps. Nothing. Just an old sleeping bag, unzipped and stained, lying half buried in a pile of leaves like someone tried to cover it and change their mind. And carved into the bark of a nearby tree in jagged letters, "It's not a baby." We left, fast. Every rustle now felt like a warning. I kept glancing behind me, waiting to see someone, anyone, following us. But there was never anything, just forest. We set up camp that night in a dense patch of trees. No fire, no talking, just 3 guys armed with trekking poles and the sharpest tools we had left, sitting in the dark. Around 11 p.m. I had to piss. I didn't want to go alone, but I couldn't hold it. I walked maybe 15 feet from the camp. I was midstream when I heard it again. That crying, softer now, almost gurgly, wet. It sounded closer. I zipped up fast, turned to move back toward the tents. And I swear to God I saw someone crouched behind a tree, just standing there, a silhouette, still as stone. I didn't breathe. I didn't move. I just watched. And then, slowly, the figure shifted, like it knew I saw it, like it wanted me to. That's when I ran, burst back into the camp, heart hammering. Kyle and Rich were up in seconds. "There's someone out there," I hissed. I saw them. We all stood back to back in the dark, gripping whatever we could use as weapons, waiting. But nothing happened. No sound, no movement. Then Rich pointed toward the tent line. "My bag's gone," he whispered. "What?" "My fucking backpack. I set it right there. It's gone." We searched for it, just outside the circle of light from our headlamps, and found it 30 feet away. It had been gutted. Not rifled through, not dumped. Sliced open with something sharp and methodical. Every pocket slashed neatly. Every item gone except one. His deodorant. Sitting in the middle like some kind of joke. That was it. We weren't waiting for morning. We packed in 10 frantic minutes, adrenaline overriding our exhaustion. No more trail, just GPS and hope. We took off down the slope, sticks snapping underfoot, calling out landmarks, ignoring our blisters and thirst. I don't know how long we walked. Hours, maybe. And then we heard it again. Crying. Closer now. And this time, it was followed by a voice. Clear, male. Just ahead of us. Shh. You'll scare them off. We froze. There was no path ahead, no light, just trees and that voice. And then a second one. Another man. Low, raspy. They're not ready yet. I turned to Kyle, or I thought I did. But he was gone. Rich was gone. I was standing there alone. I didn't move. I couldn't. My legs weren't working, or my brain wasn't connecting to them, or maybe my fear was just louder than logic. I scanned the trees, the shadows everywhere, but there was nothing. No Kyle, no Rich, just a suffocating wall of black, broken only by my headlamp, flickering slightly like the batteries were dying. Of course they were. I shouted, "Kyle! Rich!" Nothing, just that thick, swallowing silence. Then the crying again, but different now, slower, more breathy, almost like it was mimicking crying, like someone trying to sound like a baby. I turned in a slow circle, heart climbing into my throat. My breath steamed out in frantic clouds. "This isn't funny," I screamed. No answer, then crunch. Behind me, I spun around, headlamp jittering. Still nothing. I don't know if it was instinct or madness, but I ran. No direction, no plan, just away. I barreled downhill, whipping past branches, sliding on wet leaves, breath ragged. My pack bounced against my back. I didn't stop until I hit a stream. Ice-cold water to the shin. I almost cried from the relief of something real, something natural. And then I saw him. Rich. Standing on the other side, barely visible, soaked to the bone, his shirt hanging off one shoulder. "Rich," I called. He didn't move. I stepped forward. "Dude, what the hell is going on? Where's Kyle?" Still nothing. Just that blank, almost slack expression. He looked right through me. "Rich!" I screamed again. That's when he finally moved, jerkily, like a puppet whose strings got pulled too hard. He opened his mouth, but the words that came out weren't his voice. They weren't any voice. It was the baby cry, coming from his mouth. I stepped back, nearly tripping into the water. My hands went cold, my stomach flipped. Then, without warning, Rich bolted into the trees behind him. No warning, just vanished. I didn't follow. I couldn't. I don't know how long I stayed by the stream, long enough that the sun started to rise and I could see my hands again. I finally forced myself to move. I walked and walked and walked. No path, no GPS. My phone was long dead. Eventually I heard rustling up ahead. I stopped, heart in my throat. Then I saw him. Kyle. He was sitting against a tree, face in his hands. He looked up, and his eyes were swollen, red, bloodshot. "Jesus Christ," he croaked. "Where were you?" "I could ask you the same thing," I snapped. "We got separated," he whispered. "I don't even know how. 1 minute you were there, the next." I didn't want to talk about it. I didn't even want to think about Rich. "We need to get out of here," I said. Kyle nodded, but something was off. His hand was bleeding, deep gashes across his palm. "What happened?" I don't remember," he said slowly. "I think I fell. Or I don't know." I didn't press. We were both wrecked, mentally, physically, maybe permanently. We walked again, this time sticking close, shoulder to shoulder. Every sound made us jump. Every shadow felt alive. At one point we passed a tree that had something nailed into it. A Polaroid photo. Faded, water-damaged, curling at the edges. But you could still see enough. It was us. The three of us. Sitting around the campfire, smiling. It hadn't been taken by any of us. We didn't even own a Polaroid camera. Kyle turned and vomited. We kept walking. By some miracle, or maybe pure luck, we found the trailhead by early evening. I didn't even remember getting in the car, just hands on the wheel, white-knuckled, driving until we hit a gas station 3 towns over. We didn't say much. Kyle moved to Oregon 3 weeks later. Rich was never found. Officially, he's a missing person. Unofficially, I think the search parties were relieved when they came up empty. I still go on camping trips sometimes, but never alone, and never off trail. And every now and then, usually on nights when the wind's just right and my phone's about to die, I swear I hear it again. That soft, broken sound, a baby crying, and a voice that whispers, "They're not ready yet." They say trauma fades over time. Whoever said that never heard a baby crying in the middle of 200,000 acres of cold, indifferent wilderness with no one around for miles. I tried to go back to normal life after it happened. I really did. But something about the way we left the forest didn't feel finished. Like the woods had left a door open behind us, and part of me was still stuck in there, waiting for the other shoe to drop. Kyle and I kept in touch for a while, but the calls got shorter, less frequent. After a few months, he just stopped replying. He changed his number, deleted his social media. I think he was trying to erase that trip, maybe erase me with it. Rich's family reached out. They wanted answers. I gave them what I could. I told them the search team combed the trail, that maybe he got lost and injured, that we got separated during the night. But I never mentioned the baby, or the voice, or that moment by the stream when Rich made that sound with his mouth wide open, eyes blank, like someone else was inside his body. I haven't slept right since. I moved out of the city last year, got a place on the edge of a small town in Montana. Quiet, remote. I told myself it was to write more, focus on photography, but really I just needed space. From people, from noise, from myself. Then 2 weeks ago, something happened. It was about 3 a.m. A typical night, me lying awake scrolling through hiking blogs like an idiot who didn't learn the first time. I was on this old thread about unexplored trail routes through the Tetons. Most of it was what you'd expect. Gear lists, spare safety tips, stupid bragging posts. But then I saw it. A comment under an unrelated post. No username, just anonymous. If you hear a baby crying in the forest, don't follow it. It's not a baby. It never was. My stomach dropped. I tried to reply, but the thread was locked. The comment timestamp was 2 days old. I couldn't stop shaking. I barely slept that night. 3 days later, I got a letter. No return address. Just my name, scrawled in uneven handwriting. Inside was a single photo. Another Polaroid. Of me. Standing at the stream. That same haunted moment. The one I never told anyone about. My face twisted in fear, backlit by my headlamp. Taken from behind a tree. Someone had been there, watching. It wasn't dated, but it wasn't old either. I could tell from the way the ink hadn't faded yet. I flipped the photo over. On the back, written in the same uneven hand, "Shh, you'll wake the baby." I threw up in the sink. My knees buckled. I couldn't breathe. That night I sat up with a knife in one hand, a flashlight in the other. Every creak of the cabin made my pulse jump. And then it happened again. At 4:17 a.m. I heard it. Not outside, inside. A soft, stuttering wail from the living room. I crept down the hallway. My body was led, every step slower than it should have been. My flashlight flickered. When I reached the doorway, I stopped breathing. The baby monitor was on. I don't have a baby. I don't even own a monitor. But it was sitting on the coffee table, blinking. And the crying was coming from it. I backed away fast, locked the door to my bedroom, blocked it with the dresser. I stayed up till sunrise, gripping the knife so hard I thought it would fuse with my palm. When I finally opened the door the next morning, the monitor was gone. So was the photo. But on my front porch, someone had placed a small object. Rich's deodorant. The same one we found at the campsite, sitting in the middle of his slashed pack like a twisted joke. I moved out that day. Haven't been back. But no matter where I go, I know it's only a matter of time. Because last night I got a voicemail. Unknown number. Just 30 seconds of static. And then, at the very end, barely audible, "They're ready now." There's a sound a person makes when their soul realizes it's being hunted. It's not a scream, not really. It's something low, involuntary, like the body begging to survive even when the mind's already given up. That's what came out of me when I heard the voice on that voicemail. I didn't call the number back. I didn't report it to the police. What was I supposed to say? "Hi, yeah, I'm being stalked by someone or something," pretending to be a crying baby from a nightmare camping trip 3 years ago. They'd lock me up. Maybe they should. The next few days were quiet. Too quiet. I slept in motels, always checking in under different names. Kept the lights on, kept a knife under every pillow, My bags were always half packed. I couldn't tell if I was hiding or just waiting. Then, the dreams started. They weren't normal nightmares. They felt real. I could smell the pine, feel the freezing air in my lungs, hear the crunch of leaves under bare feet. I'd be back in that forest, standing alone in the dark, my headlamp flickering. Sometimes Kyle would be there, but his eyes would be gone. Hollow sockets, staring through me. Sometimes Rich would be by the stream again, holding out something wrapped in cloth. When I unwrapped it, it would always be the same thing, a tooth, human, bloody. Each night I woke up sweating through my sheets, the scream stuck in my throat. And each time there'd be something left in the room that hadn't been there before. First it was pine needles, just a small pile near the bathroom door. Then a muddy footprint, bare, small, like a child's. Then a photo. Another Polaroid. This one showed me asleep in my motel bed, the timestamp from the night before. Whoever took it had been standing right over me. I didn't sleep after that. I started driving again. I didn't know where I was going, just away. Every road out of town felt like it was circling back. I drove till I was seeing double. Every tree started to look like the ones in the Tetons. Every rest stop bathroom echoed with phantom crying. And then I made a mistake. I saw a sign for a state campground. I don't know why, but I pulled in. Maybe I wanted to face it. Maybe I thought I could end it somehow. Maybe I was just tired of running. I parked, grabbed my pack, and hiked into the woods. No trail, just instinct. I walked for hours. The trees got thicker. The air felt heavier, more humid. There were no birds, no wind, just silence. And then, the crying. Far off. Familiar. I didn't run this time. I followed it. Every step closer made my teeth hurt. My head buzzed with this low, nauseating hum, like someone was tuning a broken radio inside my skull. The crying got louder, more urgent, more wrong. I reached a small clearing, and that's when I saw it. A baby carrier, just sitting there in the middle of the forest floor, empty. Next to it, a note, scrawled on torn notebook paper, smeared with something dark. You came back. Good. Now be quiet. I turned, and someone was there, standing at the edge of the clearing, face obscured by a hood, not moving. I opened my mouth to scream, but my voice cracked. Nothing came out. The figure took a step forward. I stepped back, tripped, fell onto the pine needles. They came closer. That's when I saw what they were holding. A camcorder. The old kind, VHS. The red recording light was blinking. They were filming me. I scrambled to my feet, heart exploding in my chest. I turned and ran. I didn't stop. Branches tore at my arms and face. My lungs burned. My legs gave out twice, but I kept getting up. I don't know how long I ran. Time stopped mattering. Eventually I hit pavement, a road, civilization. A passing car honked, swerved. I must have looked insane, bleeding, dirty, screaming at nothing. They didn't stop. I made it to a ranger station 2 miles later, collapsed on the porch. When they brought me in, I told them I got lost. That's it. I didn't say anything about the camcorder, or the note, or the crying. They wouldn't understand. Nobody does. But I know this isn't over. Last night, a package showed up at the motel desk. No label. Inside was a single VHS tape. Written on it, in Sharpie, "They're watching now." I stared at the VHS tape for hours. Couldn't touch it. Couldn't throw it away. No one knew I was here. Not my family, not my bank, not even the state. I paid in cash. I parked out of view. I moved motels every 2 nights. And still, it found me. They found me. When the motel clerk handed me the package, he looked nervous. Kept glancing out the window. "It's been sitting here since morning," he muttered. "Just appeared on the counter. No one saw who dropped it off." Of course they didn't. I didn't sleep that night. I just sat with that tape, watching the shadows stretch and crawl across the walls, like they knew something I didn't. By morning, I'd made a decision. Maybe it was stupid, but I had to know. I went into town, found an antique shop with an old VHS player, bought it without saying a word. Back in the room, I plugged it in with trembling hands, slipped in the tape. The screen flickered, static. Then, footage. Grainy, shaky handheld video. No sound. It showed a forest. Not unlike the Tetons, but not quite the same. The camcorder panned slowly, deliberately. Someone breathing heavy behind it, though the mic didn't catch it clearly. Then the shot tilted down. It was me, asleep in my tent. Then it jumped. Now it was Kyle, alone, crying near a campfire, his face swollen, clothes torn. He looked up at the camera and mouthed something. I couldn't read his lips. He vanished before I could rewind. Another cut. Now we saw Rich, tied to a tree, duct tape over his mouth, eyes wild, desperate. A gloved hand reached into the frame and gently placed a baby rattle on his lap. The camcorder tilted again, revealing a small broken doll hanging from a noose in the branches above him. Then static. But it didn't end. The screen went black, not off, just dark, and stayed that way for almost a full minute. Then came the worst part. The camera turned around. Now it was filming the person holding it. But the image was warped, like the lens was cracked or distorted. I couldn't make out the face. Just a dark figure, its features too blurred to name. But something about it felt wrong. Not like a person, not completely. Its mouth moved. The voice finally came through, crystal clear. "Thank you for watching. We'll come get you now." The screen went black. I unplugged the TV, threw it against the wall. It shattered. I didn't care. I ran, left everything. Wallet, phone, ID. Took off in the clothes I was wearing. Didn't stop till I was on a freight train, hiding in the corner of a boxcar like some drifter out of a Depression-era novel. I've been moving since. Sleeping in bus stations, under overpasses. Nowhere longer than a day. No names, no ties, no trail. But they still find me. Last week I found a pacifier tied to my shoelaces when I woke up in a drainage pipe. 3 nights ago I heard a knock on the dumpster I was hiding in, followed by soft, rhythmic crying, like it was coming from inside my head. And today I found a note in my pocket. I don't know how it got there. It just said, "You shouldn't have heard it. Now you're part of it." So if you're reading this, whoever finds this notebook or message or whatever form I end up leaving it in, don't look for me. Don't go camping alone. Don't follow the crying. And if you hear someone whisper, shh, you'll wake the baby. Run. Don't stop. Don't turn around, because it's already too late. End.